Good day, lords and ladies. Welcome back to Varney Lake and me, Cornish-Knight, as we play through this short but interesting visual novel. In the last episode, we spent a bit too long trying to play solitaire with little to no success, and ended up finding an old man in a barn who desperately wanted some darkness from the sun. We did notice, though, that he has got slightly pointy ears, so who knows where this may lead. Doug pulls out some water. Doug canteen bounces off the walls and lands on the rubber with a thud. You're not even sure you saw the old man lashing out. And you wonder if your brain isn't filling in the blanks. Says the old man. You help the old man up. Who is he? And why is he dressed like that? Doug is quiet. Turn your head towards the door. The old man raises his hand, his gaze fixed upon the animal. And he starts to do something. None of you move a muscle. You think of Brandon laughing about how he and his brother used to kill rabbits. You have to point the flashlight at them. They freeze like idiots. You approach slowly and a good hit does the rest. But what followed was no hit at all. It's a vampire, folks. Christine, Jimmy, Doug. The body of the deer lay limp at the feet of the vampire. It's noon, and the sun you blocked from the old mill shines with all its intensity over Varney Lake. Love. Autumn 1981. So chapter 2, 1981. Love. I can imagine the fear you must have felt. Jimmy remained silent. So we time skipped. It was 55 and 81, so we've time skipped a long way. It's... Let's see. It would have been 55 take away 81, or 81 take away 55. So let's just quickly do the maths. So there would have been. It would have been. Sorry, brain's not working today. Give me a quick moment. 26 years. Man, I'm tired. That took me longer than I wanted to think about it. Jimmy remained silent, staring at some point behind your head. After his detailed account about the first encounter with the vampires, he seemed somewhat changed. We met this guy in the first game, if I recall correctly. If I recall correctly, yeah, Love was in the first game. You bumped into him then as well. Basically, your man in black persona. He seems somewhat changed, but you can't really say how. You look towards the door. Will he come as he promised? Jimmy sighs and looks down. What's he thinking about? He does not know about it. But you get your hands on the report. He doesn't know about it, but you got your hands on the reports about his involvement in the Vietnam War through an acquaintance. Would you include any of that in your new book? Ask him if they were afraid. Yeah. Jimmy, You repeat the question one more time. No, not afraid, says Jimmy. I don't really know. We were kids. You wait for him to say something else, but he seems lost in thought again. Another coffee? Jimmy shakes his head and you don't insist. You think of your editor, of the words he said to you the last time you'd met. Your career wouldn't survive another failure. The fact that this person here is hooded, covered fully, hooded and masked, probably means he's the vampire. Jimmy settles back into his chair. You want to know what I'm afraid of, love, like Lou? Do you ever forget a name? The director of a movie? Or the author of a book? When something like that happens to you, the mind becomes obsessed. It goes into a loop, trying to remember that name even when you don't care anymore. The answer can appear at any moment. While you're watching TV, while you're washing the dishes. That stubbornness. That freedom of your mind to work behind the scenes. As if it was an independent entity. What's the limit, Lou? Does it have an end? You remain silent, feeling how the distance between you and Jimmy grows with each passing second. For you, these questions were never rhetorical. And you know that there are not many people prepared to listen to the answers. There's another pause. There it is. After talking on the phone, you had your doubts. But in the end, she came. You had chosen this table so that Jimmy was sitting with his back to the door. You needed the surprise effect. Jimmy? There's Christine. Christine? Tim's time seems to stand still and neither of them moves. How long has it been? 27 years. Oh, I must have got the date. It must have been 54, not 55. Whoa. You notice the way Jimmy seems to stumble over his words. You know that love is nothing more than an adaptive trick to perpetuate the species. Aye. But as with any other magic trick, knowing there's a trick is not enough to escape its effects. Come. Let's sit down at the table, says Lou. Jimmy. I can't believe it. Jimmy smiles and you look away. There's something about the gesture that makes you uncomfortable. As if the muscles in his face have forgotten what a smile looks like. I'm a little late, I'm sorry. Don't worry about it. We just started, says Lou. You tell Christina what you were talking about with Jimmy. That day in the summer of, it was 1954, when you met the vampire. Did you tell him about Doug? My cousin, whispers Christine. Jimmy nods and starts drumming his fingers on the table. Why is he drumming his fingers on the table? Although you assume it's a nervous gesture, Jimmy's fingers seem to be asking something of Christine. That summer was... I'm sorry. I thought I was ready. You lean forward and take a deep breath. You know you can't miss this opportunity. You tell them what you can about your new book. At first, you find it hard to articulate some ideas. You're not selling a project to a publisher. Gradually, you find your tone and you are aware of the effect your words have on both Jimmy and Christine. You even talk about memory as a way of purging the present at a point when you're feeling particularly poetic. But you know that memory can be that, and much more. You don't feel comfortable. Why are you doing all of this? Is what your editor thinks really so important? Your readers? Anyway, you had managed to spur a change. And Christine seems determined to talk. You have to understand that we were kids, she whispers. Kids. You find it interesting that Christine used the same arguments as Jimmy. That summer was just beginning. Whoa, I miss that feeling. I wonder then if the person reading the newspaper is Doug. I mean, he has the same build as Doug that's a child Doug, like the same sort of round build. Maybe he's become a vampire? The days seem to go on forever. And we could do anything. Act 3. Christine, summer of 1954. What do you think the odds are? Says Jimmy. You like this feeling. Almost as if you were floating. And everything weighed a little less. You needed this. And you know your mum did too. Says Doug. I'd say the same odds as shuffling a deck of cards. And getting an order that's already been dealt. In the history of all mankind, he says. Wait a minute, says Jimmy. How? I read somewhere that if you shuffle a deck of 52 cards well, if you shuffle it very well 4 or 5 times, like this, even though you're not looking at him, you can imagine Doug shuffling an invisible deck of cards. The odds are getting a card order someone already got are infinitely small. There's a slight breeze. You'll try to imagine what could be the possible configuration for you to see it. How small? Says Jimmy. It was like 1 in, I don't know, a huge number. I think it had like 67 zeros. Whoa, says Jimmy. Does a number that big even have a name? You can't help but smile. Jimmy is nothing like your boyfriend. Your boyfriend is taller, bigger, more self-confident. I think we're going to see it, you say. Neither one of them says anything. But you know they're waiting for you to go on. Doug. Your little cousin. Who always idolized and feared you in equal measure. Jimmy. Doug's friend, who is now your friend too. And you always knew he liked you. Mark my words, you say. This summer we're going to see Mount Rushmore in the sky. Don't know, cousin, says Doug. 67 is a lot of zeros. The math is not important. It's enough that we add it to the list. Doug pulls your journal out of the backpack and hands it to you. And you all read the summer bucket list with veneration. Get 100. Yeah, get $100. This is one of the club's oldest goals. Year after year, you aim to raise $100 to someday be able to buy the drive-in theatre. Last year, you had come close, and Jimmy thought all you needed was just a little more ruthlessness. Cats, an albino tarpon. Martin Fix's father was the only one who had ever caught one. Such a feat had earned him his picture on the wall of the Fisherman's Bar. There was a time when everyone wanted to catch another albino tarpon. But time went by and people started to distrust Martin's story. And the very existence of the albino tarpon seemed Mount Rushmore in the clouds. Even though you understand the boys' doubts, you know they're looking at the problem the wrong way. Finding shapes in the clouds speaks more about the people looking at them than the shapes themselves. The problem is getting the three of you to agree on what you're seeing, and when that moment comes, when all three of you agree that you're seeing the same thing, you will have reached the most precious moment of your friendship. Check the Varney Lake map. You look at the location you marked on the map. Up Little River. Flex had told you that before he was born, his parents had a daughter who would now be like you if it wasn't for the strange disease that caused her death at a very young age. Maybe that's why Martin talked to you more than the rest. And maybe that's why he had told you about the place where you should start looking for the albino tarpon. Eagle Hill. Eagle Hill is located southwest from the lake, the perfect place to feel close to the sky and find different shapes in the clouds. Eagle Hill was one of the spots that couples, old kids, used to meet up at night, until the winter Barbara disappeared. Barbara lived year-round at Varney Lake. Eagle Hill was the last place he'd been seen alive, and with Brandon no less. After ruling out Brandon as a suspect, the police believed that Barbara had run away from Varney Lake. Rumour around town had it that she didn't get along with her parents at all. The General Market. The General Market is almost as old as the first settlement in Varney Lake. You can buy almost anything, from bread, butter, batteries, or cigarettes, but even more important, the General Market is surrounded by a concrete playground where the kids from Varney Lake hang out a lot. And that playground is an ideal place to play Doug's games. Should we mark the area with the vampire told us about? Doug's right. The old cobblestone road stretches for miles. No one knows when it was built, or by whom. The vampires told you to follow it to the end, and to wait until it was 7 o'clock in the evening. Jimmy looks at Doug. I told my mum I'm sleeping at your house tonight. I told mine I'm sleeping at yours. Doug and Jimmy laugh heartedly. Their mothers are at each other's throats and not talking. It's the perfect alibi. What about you? Neither of them ask you anything. You know they do it out of respect. Your mum is usually so drunk at night that they don't have to make up an excuse to go out. But you don't have to make an excuse to go out. You take a deep breath and get up. Summer is just beginning. and Varney Lake seems full of possibilities. Go to General Market, go to the Eagle Hill, stay here and see Doug's surprise. Let's go fishing. How many fish does the old geezer want? You'd like to say something about your choice to keep quiet. So you'd like to say something, but you choose to keep quiet. Old geezer. Martin had lost his daughter. Christine. 9. Jimmy lets out a whistle. If we bring him 9 fish, he will tell us where to catch their albino tarpon. You nod. But how are we going to catch so many fish? Last time it was a disaster. Dog's right. But what he doesn't take into account is that Martin gave you some tricks he learnt over a lifetime of fishing. Fish. Lift rod. Even though you know what you have to wait for a bite before you lift the rod, you can't always control your eagerness. Keep fishing. Try to remember his words. Don't laugh. But Martin says that to fish we have to open our senses. Do you know what symphysis is? Symphysis is the ability to perceive something with a different sense than the one stimulated. Seeing a colour when you hear a muscle note, for example. Martin says that to be a good fisherman you have to develop symphysis. When you catch something and try to pull it out of the water, there's going to be resistance. The fish is going to try to get loose. And what you have to do is imagine those movements in a particular colour. Green for weak movement, yellow for normal, and red for sudden ones. As long as we respond with the movements that are compensated for the fish's attempt to escape, we're going to tire it out. We're going to be able to get it out of the water. Jimmy looks confused. After a few seconds, Doug starts laughing. And you say my games are complicated. You don't feel like arguing with your cousin. This is not a game. Fishing is an activity. And as with any activity, what really matters is to dedicate the necessary time to learn all its secrets. Okay. Lift rod. You lost it. Here's a catch. Let's try again. Okay. We need to keep it. Oh, I see what we're trying to do. I don't understand how we're supposed to do this. Okay, so it's red that we need to get to? No, it's strong. Oh, so we have to match it. Okay, I see what we need to do now. So you have to match it, yeah. Okay. You got something. A catfish. Just look at the mustache. Even though you know, okay, yeah, we need to wait for the... Okay. So we had to match up, yeah. You got something. A trout. Remember last time we grilled one? Come on. Finally. I will say this game hasn't got the easiest instructions. It needs to have clear instructions for doing things. You got something. A trout. Remember last time we grilled one? Okay. Come on, I just need red. Okay, there we go. So basically, the fishing hook lure, the fishing hook is what you want to aim for, and the bottom bar is what the fish is going to do. You got something. Catfish. Right. Okay. Got something. Another catfish. Okay. Got another fish. Another catfish. Catfish is really good eating. I do like catfish. Okay. Another trout, but trout are even nicer fish to eat. I remember the first time I caught a fish myself was a rainbow trout, small rainbow trout, but it was good eating. Okay. No, right, okay. Keep fishing. Got another fish. An eel. Ugh. As with everything in this game, basically you get completing the bonus objectives gives you completing these games gives you challenges or gives you special secrets that I believe affects the outcome of the game. Got something. Eel. Catch 9 fish. Catch 22. Great book. Go read it. Ugh. I wonder how many fish we're supposed to get. It didn't say. Got something. Another eel. Ugh. I've lost count of how many fish we've caught. Caught something. Another eel. This is going to be a bit more tricky. Caught something. A trout. Remember last time we grilled one? Okay. Okay. Got something else. A trout. We must be getting near to the limit. And got impatient. Okay. Got something else. Another trout. Come on. We need to have gotten this somehow. They would tell us if we'd hit our total. You got something. Fedora? Whoa. Where did that come from? Okay. So, I know this is a bit boring, folks, but I'm lost count of how many fish we caught. So I'm just going to go for a little bit longer, and then we will call it quits. Got something. An eel. Ugh. Exit. You've got 9 fish that Martin asked for you to catch. Your goal of catching an alibi on a tarpon is getting closer and closer. Are we going to take them to the old geezer or what? What do you think he meant? I think it was clear, especially after seeing how you were shaking in the mill. Huh? Yeah, right. Wasn't it you who let out a scream when he bit the deer? Says Doug. You're a little bored of listening to them fight. It's usually something you enjoy, but there are times when they seem childish. You think about your boyfriend. What's he doing right now? Does he miss you? Do you miss him? It's here, says Christine. The end of the old road. I sharpened a twig with a razor, says Jimmy. It might work as a stake. I bought a silver chain, says Doug. For a few seconds, no one says anything. What time is it? Says Jimmy. You look at the clock. It's almost 7. Brandon didn't show up all day, did he? Says Doug. You don't think that? Doug suddenly goes quiet. Do you feel that? Says Doug. You feel it too. A vibration. Some kind of electricity. And a burning smell. Jimmy. Christine. Doug. What for? Come on, says Jimmy. Jimmy still surprises you. A few minutes ago he seemed... What word did you use? Childish. Now you don't know quite what to think. What do you think, says Jimmy. Shall we go in? Let's go in, let's wait a bit. You shake your head. Jimmy's about to say something, but suddenly shuts up. Well, says the vampire, I've been waiting for you. Come with me. You look at Doug. Doug looks at Jimmy, and Jimmy looks at you. Jimmy strides forwards and forces you to take a few quick steps as not to be left behind. Whoa, says Doug. Yes. Whoa. You feel small in there. You've never seen a house with such high ceilings. There was a time when everything was different, says the vampire. You have been greeted by my servants. You had been greeted by entertained until I decided to join you, he mutters. What would you like to drink? Says the vampire. Water, soda. Let's go for water. I'll have a water. Holy water. An awkward silence follows Jimmy's joke. A soda then, says Jimmy. Doug's eyes widen. Me too. You cousins can't stay away from sugary drinks. Let's make it 3 sodas. To keep things simple. You tried to make up for Jimmy's attitude with a smile. Maybe there's something in the pantry. I'll be back in a minute. As soon as the door to the huge dining room closes, the 3 of you jump out of your chairs. How old is this furniture? Says Jimmy. Who are all these people? You inquire. Did you see the light little bats on the chairs? None of you could contain your amazement. After all, you were in a vampire's house. Holy water, says Doug. Doug lets out a hiss and you can't help but laugh. I'm sure he's been thinking up vampire jokes all afternoon. Jimmy doesn't say anything, and your laughter doesn't last long. The silence is oppressive. You wonder if the walls of the dining room had ever heard the sound of people laughing. You unconsciously fondle your bracelet, and you're thankful it's silver. The door opens, and none of you say anything. You're lucky, says the vampire. I found carbonated beverages in one of the pantries. Doug and Jimmy uncork their bottles, and they don't like what they hear. A faint hiss sounding, like a balloon quietly deflating. Did you see the bottle at the bottling date? You try to speak softly so the vampire won't hear you. One of my maids always said, soda never expires. Did he hear you? How? Do vampires have superhuman hearing? I know you have a lot of questions. Brandon, for example. You won't have to worry about him anymore. Did you kill him? The vampire. Takes a sip of his drink. Well, what do you think I am? Says the vampire. Let's just say he's not going to be able to hurt anyone anymore. Listen carefully. You saved me. And now I owe you. What about the drive-in theatre? The question takes you by surprise. Is the vampire also able to read your mind? Or is there a simpler explanation? We like horror movies, says Doug. What is Doug doing? Why is he even telling him stuff? Give me a minute, says the vampire. I have something to show you. Something to show us? How many of the dozens of horror movies you've seen included a line just like that one? You wait for the door to close. And you don't have to say anything. Try to hold back your laughter and breathe through your nose. Why did we run? said Doug. Doug tries to catch his breath. What do you mean, why? Says Jimmy. That old guy is a freak, says Christine, and we don't want to die in his haunted house. You look at Jimmy and smile. Jimmy smiles back. It's just a second, and when you realise, you look down and pull your arm away. Love. Chapter 4. But I think that's where we're going to put a cut in, folks. I've been Cornish-Knight, this has been Varney Lake, and the plot thickens, and I shall see you all again next time. Goodbye.